Welcome back. It's the middle of May, it's blinding hot here in Yorkshire, and it's time to sort out the greenhouse. It is currently packed chocker full of seedlings ready to go out. They're going to go in the next few days because my last frost is any day now, so I'm all about getting ready. So today we're going to sort out the greenhouse and plant out the greenhouse tomatoes. So I'm going to show you what I do, tell you why I do it, and you can follow along. Right, now let's start with the obvious stuff, which is the soil. Now, probably about a month ago, I started preparing by putting down some new compost. Now, you'll see that the greenhouse, I plant straight into the earth. I know some people use pots, but I use the earth. Now, because I'm putting the same plant, mostly, in the same soil every year, it's really important that you refresh that soil with some new compost. And I buy a tomato-based compost. It's got all the right nutrients that I need there for tomatoes. Now, tomatoes are really hungry plants. That's really important. So make sure you think about the soil you're putting down, or the bag or the pot or whatever, and you'll need to feed them throughout the summer season. Once you've got your soil sorted, you can just see what I've got here right now, where my starting point is. So I've got a row of lettuce. This is the first lettuce I've grown. I've grown them this year, rather, in the greenhouse because I want an early crop, and this is all ready for picking now. I'll start eating this literally today. My tomatoes are back there. They're looking a little bit floppy because I've moved them from the house. And you can see behind me all the seedlings growing on, ready to go. And again, it's really hot. The doors are wide open because it's bacon. And there's the sticks ready to go. And there's the view. So that's where we're starting. The next step is to start putting our posts in. So I'll start that and I'll show you what I've done. So my posts are in. And you can see there, I have got them in about a foot apart from each other. Now, if you read instruction packs, they will say 2 feet for a tomato plant. Yes, that's true, but I've only got in here, I've got a big greenhouse, it's 10 foot by 8 foot, so I've got plenty of space, but I do tend to cram them. I've got them about every foot. That will be okay as long as I feed them plenty, make sure they're watered, etc. So just bear in mind the spacings, it's crucially important. If you're going to get closer than the 2 feet in the instructions, you need to feed them a lot. I wouldn't go any closer than 1 foot because as the plant grows and spreads out, it'll get all tangled and you have to get onto your pruning, but we can cover that later. But for time being, sticks in. Oh, the other thing I will say in terms of my posts, if you have a look at them, I'm using 3 branches. The reason for that is because I'm fortunate to have lots of trees around the garden here, and so I keep my larger cuttings to be sticks and canes, which is helpful. But I would advise you use some pretty substantial canes for your tomatoes. In this centre section here, I will let the tomatoes get to 4 levels, so they'll go up to here. And tomatoes, particularly if you're growing big ones, beef tomatoes, they're heavy, so you need to have proper support. Now, some people have strings from the top of the greenhouse, that's fine. I haven't really got a frame up there for that, so I go with sticks. Nice big strong sticks. They're pushing to the ground maybe half a foot probably, because the ground's quite soft. And that does, but you need something substantial, so that's my big tip there. Make sure you don't use little canes in the garden centre, useless. Big sticks so the tomato plants don't fall over when they're full of tomatoes, because that's really annoying. Big sticks. Okay, so this is my next stage. What I've done is positioned all the tomato plants where I think I'm going to put them, and I've tried to group them by variety so I know what I've got in the greenhouse. So this end here are the beef tomatoes, they're called Big Daddy, this variety. Then some Rosella, some Sun Gold, and there's a couple of Fandangos. I've got plenty of spare plants, the smaller ones actually, which I'll keep back, and I will ultimately put in a collection outside in the beds out there. So position first, and now we go on to planting. Now this is the part about planting tomatoes that you'll find on all the YouTube videos, but it's still very important, so I'll go through it carefully. Now to plant tomatoes you need a trowel, some string, and of course a pair of scissors to cut said string. Nothing overly exciting. Now what we want to be doing is burying our tomato plants deep. Now here's a hole I've just dug. I've planted the first 2, so you can see them in the ground there. It needs to be deep. So the idea is I plant a tomato, pop it in, to double the depth or thereabout of the pot. So the surface level soil will be about there in a minute. And the idea is, if you see all these little white fronds down here, the tomato will grow roots out of all of this stem. So by doing that, you're giving it double the depth of root ball, which will make a stronger plant. Good for a couple of reasons. Well, obviously the stronger plant can feed more tomatoes, great. But secondly, it will also allow the plant a bit more stability. So that is why we do that. And then what I'm going to do, I've done one here, is loosely tie a bit of string around the plant, and just bear in mind, of course, this is going to be a much bigger plant in a few weeks, so don't do it too tight. So now I'm going to follow my own advice, plant all the tomatoes, trying to die in this ridiculously hot greenhouse, and come back to the end when it's all done and show you. So speak to you in a second. Right, so that's done. Tomatoes are in. You'll see I've got them next to the pole, not behind the front of the pole, so they get lots of sunlight. Around here, what I've done is I've staggered them. In the past, I've had an extra plant here, so row of 2 and 2, but I found that you just can't get to the back one to prune them and harvest properly. So I've dropped this plant, and I hope I get a bigger plant as a result. So stagger for good access. That last pole will be for a cucumber. It doesn't need the sunlight to ripen, so it's always in that spot really. That does well. But not bad, we're almost finished. There's just one more thing we need. And to come behind me to, this is full now, to my seedlings, we need a companion plant. And the classic tomato companion plant is this here, which is a marigold. Let's get some of those in. And I'm done for now. Now, one final tip, obviously at the end of planting, you want to be watering in your plants. Do make sure when you water the tomatoes, you do not, as I have there like an idiot, do not get the bottom few leaves wet. Make sure you water them nice and low, because if you get bottom of tomatoes, or any leaf of tomatoes actually wet, the leaf will burn in the sunlight and then you'll lose the leaf. So at this stage, I want the plants to have plenty of nutrition from the leaves to grow, so I don't want to lose any leaf, so do not water the leaves. And that's it for now. I'm going inside for a cold drink because I'm as red as a beetroot. I hope you enjoyed that and was useful. If it was, please leave a like and do please subscribe because I'd love to grow this account. Great, enjoy, see you soon.